So one Sunday morning, a mother went in to wake up her son and tell him it was time to get ready for church. To which he replied, "I'm not going." "Why not?" she asked. "Well, I'll give you two good reasons," he said. "One, they don't like me, and two, I don't like them." So his mother replied, "I'll give you two good reasons why you should go to church. One, you're 54 years old. And two, you're the pastor." Do you ever feel like that, maybe? Just every now and then, right? Yeah. Well, I promised one very special lady in my life that I would not make this an emotional opportunity, so that was my gift, Penny, to get a little laughter going. What a wonderful day, and I am so pleased to be part of this opportunity to celebrate Mary. She and I go back to 2014, actually, when she came to be our interim pastor for the first opportunity. And she and I had a click and a connection, and we've enjoyed kind of pursuing that along the way. A few years ago, I had the opportunity to work side by side with her on a couple of her consulting engagements, and had such a wonderful time exploring that. And who knew, when I was sitting in this meeting room about 18 months ago, give or take, and all of a sudden our district superintendent, Sandy, said, "So let me introduce you to your next interim pastor." And all of a sudden in the Zoom box, you know what I mean by that, right? The Zoom, not the boom box, the Zoom box, was Mary. I'm like, "Oh, thank you." I think we all sighed, those of us who knew you, and those that didn't know you at the time certainly took our grand endorsement and assured them that you were going to be a wonderful fit for us. As Sharon mentioned, it was an interesting time for us as a church. When we think back on that, I think back on that, making it through the COVID years, as we call them, and coming out, and I think in an environment that we were ready to continue to pursue our ministry, aside from all of the challenges that we might have had a couple of years prior to that. So it was an interesting time for somebody like Mary to come into our midst. And I've been thinking this week about the things that I really just wanted to impart, not only to you, but to Mary as well. And I've been reading, some of that is I've been reading a book called Start With Why. Anybody familiar with Simon Sinek? Okay, he's a great, his claim to fame, I think, was actually through TED Talks. And he started this journey of finding your why. And realizing that that's what it's all about. If you can kind of get to that level, which is a little difficult to do, then you know why you get up every day. You know why you come to church every Sunday. And you know why you participate in Bible studies and all of the things that we participate in. Here's one of his comments that I just want to share with you. He said, "There are leaders and there are those who lead." Leaders and those who lead. Leaders hold a position of power or influence. Those who lead inspire us. Whether individuals or organizations, we follow those who lead because we have to, or we don't do it because we have to, but because we want to. We follow those who lead not for them, but for ourselves. One of my other favorite people, who I don't think is here today, but she is our pastor emeritus, Jenny Wheeler. When I joined the church, Jenny was our pastor, and I remember her saying in one of her, where are you, Jenny? Oh my goodness, you're back in the corner, I didn't see you. Understood, so noted. Box checked. One of the things that she said in her sermon that has stuck with me for years is, in order to be a leader, you need to have people following you. And I've often thought about that as I've continued my work in corporate life, and I think, yeah, you know what, you're right. It's hard to be a leader unless you got people that are looking to you for that guidance and perhaps for that purpose. So Mary, I share that because I think, as I mentioned, you came to us at an interesting time, as a time of opportunity. And you started helping us weave through why we're here and what we need to do to continue to grow our ministry and grow that ministry in a very healthy way. One of the things that you probably already know about Mary, she's a big fan of servant leadership. And so, of course, I had to go to your website and do a little looking. And this is what I heard her say on the website. Servant leadership is a selfless commitment. A selfless commitment to be firm but collegial. And that is what we have seen with Mary in her leadership with our church. And as we continue to grow and prosper here, you are going to have a permanent thumbprint on what we have done and how we have accomplished that. And so I thank you for all of the work and the effort and the love and sometimes the reprimands. Yeah, Mary can get kind of, it's like, no, we're not going to do that, right? And that's good, because every now and then you need that. It's that firm, selfless commitment that really, I think, makes Mary who you are. So thank you, Mary, for being part of our church. I have so enjoyed being part of your leadership team, and I've enjoyed watching the new leadership team come to play. I want to give just a quick thanks to Pam Silk, who is our current chair of our leadership council, and Sharon Phelps as well, and I'm sure a bunch of others. Carrie, you come to mind in putting this special service together for us today. So let me introduce a couple of my colleagues to join up here. First of all, Slade, why don't you start making your way up here? Slade Carlton, who is a member of our leadership board, is going to share some of his thoughts with you, and then following that, Megan Waters, who is our director of music, is going to share some of her thoughts. Slade, come on up.
Thank you, Mike. Good morning. Good morning. I'm Slade Carlton. My wife and Angel and I have 4 children in this church. 2 of them were here just a few minutes ago, George and Beatrice. I'd like to share a few minutes of some of the children's ministry that Mary has brought to our church. As she mentioned during the children's message just now, Beatrice is an artist. She loves to draw, and one of the first things that I saw in Pastor Mary's office was one of those paintings that Beatrice had done for her, taped up. So a child's heart offered and a child's heart received. There's a beautiful book called The Little Prince, where the French pilot describes having conversations after he crash lands in the Sahara with a prince from another world. And in it, there's a dialogue that goes, "People where you live," the little prince said, "grow 5,000 roses in one garden, yet they don't find what they're looking for." "They don't find it," I answered. "And yet what they're looking for could be found in a single rose or a little water." "Of course," I answered. And the little prince added, "But eyes are blind. You have to look with your heart." Mary's helped us prioritize our children's ministry while she's been here. 2 of the top 5 priorities we came up with 2 years ago were children related, the preschool and Messy Church. The preschool, as you know, we used to have one 20 years ago, 30 years ago. From 1968 to 1988, we had the Little Fisherman's School here, and then we didn't have one for 30 years. But 3 years ago, we identified the Sunshine School, and we added one with all the undertaking that adding a preschool requires. So there was a lot of licensing, working with the city, working with the neighbors, remodeling, maintenance, adjustments to routines for the staff, adjustments to routines for the other tenants. And Mary helped us organize that. She helped us schedule regular meetings with the preschool. She helped us add a communications team to trustees so we could have that dialogue ongoing. With Messy Church, one of the really beautiful things for my family, for this church, a lot of people, a lot of churches, I think in general, look and say, we used to have such a thriving children's ministry and it's not like it used to be, and I've heard that a couple of times at this church, but I always think, have you been to Messy Church? Because if you see the work that Teacher Barbara is doing and you see what Bernetta and Teresa and others, it's incredible. It's the very best children's ministry in all of Laguna Beach. It's an amazing ministry. Mary's been an important part of that. Under her direction, she applied for and received a grant from CalPAC supporting this ministry. She was was here when that work started, Messy Church, in 2014 as well. She also recommended Pastor Jenny as pastor emeritus, and both she and Pastor Jenny have led a lot of the messages at Messy Church, which are always beautiful. But some of the most meaningful ministry that Mary's given our church has been to the children at LBMC on Sunday mornings, just like you saw. There's a story in Luke about Jesus, we all know it, as a child traveling to Jerusalem with his family to celebrate the Passover. When his parents are on their way home, they realize that Jesus isn't with them, so they panic and they scramble for 3 days, and finally they find him. When Mary asks, "Son, why have you treated us so? Behold, your father and I have been looking for you anxiously." Jesus says to them, "How is it you sought me? Did you not know that I must be in my Father's house?" And then Luke does something that's interesting. He highlights this really profound message in a very subtle way, saying his mother kept all these things in her heart. So this is the third time in Luke's gospel where these things, he talks about people keeping things in their heart. There's a small figurine in Pastor Mary's office, and it has Winnie the Pooh and Piglet holding hands and walking together. And if you ask any child, they'll tell you that Winnie the Pooh is a wonderful philosopher. One of the quotes from Pooh is, "Sometimes the smallest things take up the most room in your heart." So Pastor Mary, thank you for prioritizing the smallest things at LBMC and for showing us how to make the most room for them in our hearts.
Today is a day for celebration of our beloved Pastor Mary as she completes her final month of pastoring our church here in June. I know we are all so excited to celebrate today. Over the years, Pastor Mary has touched our hearts in countless ways, and her impact on our church community, especially our music ministry, has been profound. I want to share a special story that highlights Pastor Mary's incredible dedication and love for our church family. On the Sunday that we celebrated Daniel's 10-year anniversary with us, our team decided to put together a small group of singers to perform one of Daniel's favorite pieces. But we wanted it to be a surprise, which is really difficult when it's Daniel. He's so organized and wonderful. But Pastor Mary and Daniel share a long-standing friendship, and when she offered to be our accompanist to pull off the surprise, we were all so excited. Those of us who were in worship that day got to hear her beautiful piano playing, but what people didn't get to see was her behind the scenes. What it means to participate in music ministry, it means you get here early. And that day it was 8 a.m., and Pastor Mary snuck in through the choir room doors to try and pull off the surprise, and I think we did it, which is great. But she came in with this positivity and gratitude to be included, and she was just so excited to be a part of celebrating Daniel. This moment exemplified how much she cares for all of our people, always going the extra mile to make a moment special. It's amazing to have a pastor who loves music just as much as we do. Whenever I come to Pastor Mary with big ideas, she always embraces them, asking, "How can I support you?" And when she says she's going to support them, she means it. When I told her that we wanted to hold an evening caroling event during Advent, an already busy time for us all, she went above and beyond for me, my team, and my family to feel supported throughout the entire event. She meets every idea with that same enthusiasm and presence. Her support has been a driving force behind many of our music initiatives, and her passion for music has enriched our worship experiences. Her creativity is unparalleled. Pastor Mary is a pioneer of modern creative worship and connecting the Word of God to the people of today. The resources that Pastor Mary and her co-author and husband BJ write together not only include sermons, but music ideas, skits, videos, and so much more. And these resources are an incredible testimony to her wisdom, creativity, and imagination that I truly believe knows no limits. It has been a joy to plan and learn worship from her over the last 18 months. Pastor Mary's relational style of leadership is something that has touched all of us in this room. I remember my first few meetings with her and how she took the time to really get to know me as a person and not just the music director of our church. She patiently listened as my nervous self, like now, told my whole life story, and her genuine interest in all of our lives and her ability to connect with each of us on a personal level has created a strong sense of community and belonging in this church. On a personal note, this style of leadership is one of my biggest takeaways in my time with her. In my role both here at LBUMC and in my own business, I find myself thinking often, how would Pastor Mary handle this moment? She is someone who listens not to respond, but to receive. She gives the best advice when you're open and ready for it. She is assertive, yet loving in difficult moments. And she is someone that I am proud to say that I look up to, and I'm proud to call my mentor and friend. As we celebrate Pastor Mary's final weeks with us, it's only fitting that we do so with a little bit of music. Last fall, we arranged a special piece for Pastor Mary and Pastor Debbie called Joyful, Joyful Glory to God. Today, we're going to perform it again, and this time with our choir joining in on the fun as a thank you from all of us. It's a very small token of our immense gratitude and love for her. So thank you, Pastor Mary, for your unwavering dedication to God, your compassionate leadership, your boundless love for worship in our congregation. You've made a lasting impact on all of us, and we will carry your spirit of joy with us always.